Hi guys, welcome to Hall's Hobby Farm. I'm going to go out and brush out the horses and fly wipe them with my homemade fly wipe. In the background is my husband cutting up firewood from the trees that we've trimmed in the past.
What you listen to, Bob?
What music are you listening to?
Okay, the wreck of elephants.
The wreck of elephants. What do you think? The wreck of elephant what?
Huh?
What?
That's the name of the song.
What is it? Bob. The wreck of... I don't understand what you said.
We're in Lightfoot. The wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald.
The wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald. He's a music buff who loves to listen to music. But in the background, you're probably going to hear a little bit of his music, and you're probably going to hear some of the firewood being cut. So you might see a few things around the property that looks like junk. It's really not. These are projects in the waiting to happen. These are planter boxes. I'm going to use 2 of them as an entry to a new fence on the garden. And I'm not sure where the other one's going to go, but it'll go somewhere great, and we'll be growing some great things in there. This is the fly wipe. We always bring it into the sheep pen because if Cookie gets a little froggy, which he does from time to time, I spray him with a fly wipe and he hates it. And he'll run off or back off just because I'm holding it in my hand. So come on in. Bobby already fed them this morning. We'll do a feeding show video next time. So this is Jethro, my Belgian draft mule. He's a really big guy. And Churro the burro, he's the donkey. So usually I start with Churro because he tends to be a little difficult at times. He doesn't always want to be fly wipe. He hates fly wipe, but he needs it the most because he has reactions to the flies. And he likes to roll a lot. Also, donkeys and mules are communal poopers. They always poop in the same corner. So I'm going to put a halter on him. He's being pretty cooperative today. Sometimes I have to walk around and follow him to get him to let me do it. So this is a nice small halter. He's not a big guy. See if we can get him to come over. With donkeys, you can't just pull him with a lot of tension. He knows what's about to happen. So I'll bump this a little bit, try to get him to step forward. Come on. See if I can get him out of the poop pile. Come on. I don't want to stand in the poop. Stop. Come on. Cameraman's giving him a little encouragement. Well, let's see if I can get him to tie over here. So I just want him to stay in place. and cooperate. This guy is really smart. He'll take this rope, pull it out, and let himself loose. You get the bucket.
Come on, Jethro.
So I'm just going to go over to him with the curry brush because he's been rolling. He's got a lot of grass on him. I want to get the big pieces off.
Jethro.
They kind of like the curry brush because it kind of feels like a back scratch. But you try not to do it too hard. He is a little sensitive. Some horses are more sensitive than others. I think he enjoys the attention. Get him all combed out. I bring this little bucket and I always have my wet curry comb, 2 rags, one for the donkey, Churro the burro, and one for the mule. Because you see his face, it's really dirty, and the fly wipe attracts on his eyes. The fly wipe attracts a little bit of swat, dirt and stuff. 2 brushes and swat. Use a soft brush on his face. You want to eye clean it by just rubbing it on the fence. Jethro's being very affectionate to the camera guy.
Good boy.
In Arizona, it's very dusty, hot, and dry, as if you can imagine. Perfect climate for donkeys. The hot, dry climate's really good for their feet. If you put them in Florida, they're likely to have problems with their feet. He has some problems with his feet currently, just because we've had a lot of rain last year. So, let's talk about Churro the burro a little bit. Churro the burro was my first large animal that I got for this property. He is a BLM. He's been adopted by me, and I kind of had my hopes set on a certain donkey, a certain color, and it just didn't work that way. They just kind of give you a donkey and you adopt it. He was still pretty young. He certainly wasn't this big. He really hadn't had any handling by human beings. And honestly, when I brought him home, I didn't even have a fence set up. I had the fencing, it just wasn't put in yet. So, as soon as we got him, we had to put up the fencing, which was real important because the north side of our property had no fencing. There was no brick wall there. We had it just open. So Churro the burro was, according to his paperwork, was rounded up in Yuma by the BLM. I initially went there for a Mustang, but I got a little intimidated, to be honest, folks, because there was this Mustang that was really wild. They had in the pen, and they were trying to lunge it around, and this Mustang tried to jump over a 5-foot fence, and I was sitting right in the front of the stands, and it kind of scared me. So I saw the donkeys and says, well, maybe I'm not ready for a wild Mustang yet. Maybe I'll just go with the donkey. So I started out with the donkey, and just a little bit about me. I was raised on a small hobby farm, very much like this. We raised our own food, chickens, cows from time to time for meat. I was raised with 5 brothers and sisters, and my mom and my papa, who's my stepdad, and they were instrumental in encouraging me and teaching me everything that I know about gardening and about animals. We didn't have sheep, we didn't have a donkey or mule or horses. Though we did love horses, and we rode our neighbors' horses all the time, and we also rented horses, which is not the same thing as renting. Renting is not the same thing as riding a regular horse. So anyway, I went to the auction. I was hoping for, like a lighter, browner color donkey with some white in his face. He was really cute. I didn't get that donkey, but I said, you know what? God, whatever you give me is going to be what I need. Sometimes what you need and what you want aren't the same thing. So God blessed me and gave me Churro. He's a very sweet, kind, and gentle donkey. I really enjoy him. He is funny. He is a little clown. Right now he's clipped. I clipped him a couple months ago, and you can see his cross. He's got a dark cross right here. This is called the Christian cross. And the story is that Jesus rode on a donkey with a Christian cross across his back, and the way he got the cross is when the donkey stayed with Christ his entire time. And when he went to the cross and the sun set and Christ died, the shadow of the cross landed on the donkey's back, who carried Jesus the entire time. And that's how the donkey got his cross. So he's always remembered for, I don't know, I guess I would consider the donkey one of Jesus' disciples, because he carried Jesus everywhere he went. But anyway, donkeys have a bad reputation for being stubborn. They're not stubborn. They're independent thinkers. Horses oftentimes will follow you and do what you tell them to do because you tell them to do it. Donkeys want to know why you want them to do it, or they want to know if it's safe. So they have to already trust you a lot, or they have to consider in their own mind whether they want to do it or not. So donkeys and mules are very different than horses because they're independent thinkers. But they're definitely not dumb by any stretch of the means. When we had him, one time he simply opened the gate on his own and went for a walk. And we had to get him. I got a phone call that said he was out. Did I have him? I said, yeah, sure, he's here. I came out and looked. He wasn't here. And my neighbor said, look, there's a cowboy in a red truck trying to rope him running down the road here. And I said, well, he's probably on his way home. Is he headed this way? She says, yes. And I said, let me open the gate. He'll probably just come right in. So I opened the RV gate, and sure enough, he comes running around the corner in the gate, puts his head over my shoulders to hug me, to tell me about this cowboy that was chasing him down with a rope. So they are very smart, and that's one of the reasons why we go through the sheep pen to get to this pen, because we have a padlock on that gate so these guys can't get out. And if they did get out, they'd end up in the sheep pen, not out running around in the yard, which now the yard completely fenced. So anyway, he's brushed off a bit. He really does not like being fly wiped. We're gonna go get some water. This is how we get water in the horse pen. Beep beep. Jethro's hanging out because he loves to be brushed too. He usually gravitates that way because he wants to get brushed and have his eyes wiped, and they like the attention. Okay, so we get the water out of the horse trough. If it's clean enough for them to drink, it's clean enough to clean them up. So I just wipe him down. I wipe his eyes, and I go in this direction towards his nose, because you don't want to go this way and wipe in dirt and grass into his eyes and cause irritation. And I'm going to wipe off the old SWAT fly wipe. Most horse people know what SWAT is. I think everybody uses it. Wipe off his nose. He's a bit like my boys when they were young. They don't always like their faces wiped off. So, and don't be shy. I mean, I always wipe his nose. I put my finger and thumb in the rag and clean off his nostrils. Sometimes he likes that. And that's it. Now, I'm going to put some SWAT around his eyes. I only put a little bit, like eyeliner, but not in the eye. Just under the eye and just above it. Because these flies out here are relentless. And he's being a good boy. We do this in the summer. We do this every day. The reason why you want to keep flies out of and off of horses, donkeys, mules' eyes, because flies carry pink eye. And pink eye can go from person to animal, animal to person, or fly to animal. And also, if left unattended, the flies tend to lay maggots and stuff, and you can get maggots in their eyes and all kinds of nasty stuff, or infections, because they oftentimes carry that too. So, it's a fly wipe. He hates his part. This is why I have to tie him. If I let him not get fly wiped, these flies bite him. They leave lumps on him. There's a lump right here because he's allergic to their bites. And then sometimes the hair will fall out. Then they'll continue to bite him, lay eggs in his skin, and cause infection. And then he needs steroids and medication, which we like to avoid. So this is my homemade fly wipe. I'll have another video on this on how I make it. So he knows it's coming. So he's already closing his eyes. So I'm going to say, close your eyes. This is 100% organic. There's no poison in it. It's all plant-based. And now that I've got all the dirt and stuff off him, this fly wipe will stick to him. I also, not sure how to say this, I also spray between his legs because their sheath can get flies go up inside it and lay eggs, and then they get maggots in there. What a horrible thing that would be. So I just spray a little bit there. It won't harm him in any way. Like I said, as you can see, he's moving away from it. This is his least favorite thing. But he needs it the most because for some reason, maybe because he's so sweet, the flies just love him and they will eat him alive. And he refuses to wear a fly mask. I can't keep one on him. He'll rip it off. He'll have Jethro rip it off. It'll all come out. It'll be torn up, hanging in shreds around his neck. And I've decided that the fly mask for a donkey that doesn't want a fly mask needs fly wipe, because a fly mask could be dangerous. It could get wrapped around his neck or caught in his mouth or something. So one down, one to go. This is a daily chore that you should do with your animals. I do pick their feet on a fairly regular basis, and we'll have another video about that later. So Jethro is, there's a story back behind him too. There's always a story behind your animals, your puppies, your dogs, your cats, how you got them, how all that fall into place. Well, I was looking for a horse for a few months. And, you know, I thought, I know how to ride a horse. I know what I'm doing. So I went ahead and was looking for a horse, and you have to ride a horse if you want to buy them. Kind of like you don't buy a car you didn't drive, right? And once I got horses I wasn't familiar with and started riding, horses aren't dumb. They're very smart. They know before you even get on them that you know your stuff or you don't know your stuff. I thought I knew my stuff. I didn't. Because I couldn't get the horses to do the things that I wanted them to do, and I was so embarrassed. I felt like kind of a fool, and I knew it wasn't the horse's fault, that it was my fault. I thought I knew more than I did, so I decided it might be a good idea to take some lessons. So I got Churo the burro, and I worked on gentling him because he was never handled by people. He wouldn't even let us touch him or anything. And I worked with him and took lessons, and Churo the burro taught me a lot. And my trainer taught me even more. I took lessons from her, I think it was twice a week. She was very, very qualified. And I don't think she does it anymore. I don't know. I'm not going to mention her name, because I don't know if she'd appreciate that or not. But anyway, she was a fantastic trainer. She taught me so much in such a short time. I really wasn't planning on going to the rodeo and stuff. I just wanted to trail ride and be able to handle myself in situations that may arise. So anyway, I took the lessons, and I looked and looked and looked and looked for a horse. And first, people, sure, there's great ones out there, but when they're selling a horse and you're buying a horse, you really should know your stuff, because they'll see you coming too. And oftentimes they don't tell the truth about their animal. I wanted an animal that I could get on and ride, that was trained, it wasn't crazy, because, you know, I was in my late 40s, so I wanted to make sure I had an animal that was safe as it could be. Well, and I wanted him to be healthy and sound. So I got a vet check. I paid a vet to come out and examine the horse and make sure that the horse was sound, that he wasn't lame. I would have him take x-rays. And let me tell you, every person that was selling a horse, and I went to dozens and dozens, spent a lot of money on the vets. And every time these people lied. They all lied. Because when I got the results back from the vet, they said the horse was either older than they said, had arthritis, or lameness issues that the owners refused to disclose. To be fair, some of them might not have known. But honestly, if you're going to sell your horse, you should have it checked by a vet to make sure you know that your horse is healthy before you sell it. Most people just want to get rid of horses that are lame or not healthy, so they're not going to be honest and tell you that there's a problem. So then I came across the internet about this guy named Red, and he sells saddles. He was about 2 hours away. He sells horses, or mules. He sells, I think he had horses too, but he was retiring, and he had a business where he used mules to pull people around in and go in parades and pull carts and stuff. And I thought, how did I overlook this? Why not get a mule? I love Churo the burro, my donkey, and mules are half donkey. So why not? I'm gonna go check it out. So I did a little bit of research. I called him up. I made a trip with my good friend down there that knew more about horses than I did. It's always good to take somebody that knows more than you when you're looking for something like that. So I told him what I was looking for, nothing crazy, something healthy. I want to be able just to trail ride. I'm not going to be rodeoing or anything, but I really would like to, I don't know, maybe I'll consider doing something else, but at the time I really just wanted to trail ride and stuff. and have a sound animal. So I says, look, I'm later in life getting started. I really don't want to be bucked off and be in the hospital or get a head injury and have all the fun ruined by that. So I asked him to pick the animal that he felt would best fit my personality and best fit. So he picks Jethro. I rode him around. He gave me some pointers, and I loved him. And I thought he was great. I thought he was pretty big. I was really kind of intimidated by his size. As you can see, I'm standing at his wither right here. There's only a few inches from my head. He's a big guy, but his mother is a Belgian Jack mule, or a Belgian Jack horse, and his father was a Mammoth Jack, and he came from Montana. And he had training by Red. Red trained all those mules. He pulled carts. He's walked in parades. He did coon jumping. His daughter took him in some coon jumping shows, and he also had been mounted shooting. So he's been packed with, and they also rode him and shot off of him to kill deer and stuff, and then packed him out on him. So he has a lot of experience to do a lot of different things. And Red did such a good job. He gets his gentleness. He gets most of that, I think, from the Belgian draft, because they tend to be very calm and gentle animals. And so the father was the Mammoth Jack, and he turned out to be awesome. I do have a saddle for him and stuff, but I really don't ride him with the saddle. I sold the saddle because I hated riding with the saddle. I just prefer bareback pad. I feel more connected to him. So anyway, that's it. Jethro's a pretty good, well-behaved, well-mannered, big, gentle giant. I'm just going to spray him down. He doesn't need any swat. So I'm going to reach under here, kind of I know where his eyes are, and just wipe, just to make sure he doesn't have any dirt or tears drying on there. So rag's pretty clean. He doesn't dislike this as much as Jethro, but he tolerates it. And do the other side, or we're done. Okay, well, that's a simple, fun little video. It's not extraordinary. A lot of horse people do this every day. I do this every day in the summer. In the winter, not so much. So now he looks clean and pretty, and as you can see, there are no flies anywhere around him or Chero. They hate this fly wipe. So stay tuned, and next time I'll show you how to make homemade, organic, plant-based fly wipe that works. It's not poisonous, and you can use it on yourself too. So just remember to subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you like the video. It really helps me out a lot, and I hope you have as great a day as I have. Bye bye.